You were not born to wake up in panic, fight traffic, survive another shift, and call that living. You were not born to trade your time for money and your dreams for a paycheck. You were born for freedom, but freedom isn't given. It's bought, and the currency is discipline. Most people spend their entire lives in a system designed to keep them busy, broke, and blind. They work, they pay, they sleep, and they call that security. But let me tell you the truth. Security and slavery often wear the same uniform. The rat race isn't about rats. It's about routine. It's the endless loop of doing what you hate to afford what you don't need, while convincing yourself you have no choice. You've been trained to think that escape is impossible, but it isn't. Escape is a skill, and today you're going to learn how to master it. If you want to buy your freedom, you have to understand the prison you're in. The rat race doesn't start at your job. It starts in your mind. It begins the moment you believe that your value is tied to hours, that time equals money, and that money equals happiness. But that equation was never written for your freedom. It was written for your control. Think about it. The system rewards obedience, not creativity. It rewards compliance, not curiosity. It celebrates burnout and calls it work ethic. You've been told that if you just work harder, you'll win. But the rat race doesn't reward speed. It rewards participation. The faster you run, the faster the wheel spins. And while you're running, the ones who built the cage collect your energy and call it productivity. But here's the truth. They don't want you to know. You can't win the rat race. You can only exit it. Freedom isn't about earning more. It's about needing less. It's not about quitting your job. It's about quitting your dependence. The goal isn't to stop working. It's to start owning. When you own your time, your skills, your income streams, that's when you've bought your freedom. Because you can't buy your freedom with money. You buy it with control. The rat race thrives on 3 traps: fear, comfort, and confusion. Fear keeps you compliant. Comfort keeps you lazy. Confusion keeps you distracted. The world keeps throwing you new rules. Buy this, invest in that, work harder, climb faster, but none of it leads you to freedom. You can't follow the rules of a system designed to exploit you and expect to win. You have to unlearn. You have to start asking dangerous questions. Questions like, why am I trading 5 days of my life for 2? Why does my income stop when I stop working? Why does the system reward debt but punish ownership? The answers will shake you, but they will also free you. There was a man named Victor. He had a decent job, a steady salary, and a quiet despair he carried like a second skin. Every Monday, he'd wake up before dawn, sit in traffic, and whisper to himself, someday. Someday, he'd start that business. Someday, he'd travel. Someday, he'd live. But someday never came, because he was too busy surviving today. Then one night, after yet another overtime shift, Victor's car broke down on the highway. He sat there, headlights off, just listening to the hum of other cars rushing by. People just like him, running the same race, chasing the same illusion. And in that stillness, it hit him. He wasn't tired of working. He was tired of waiting. That night, Victor made a decision, the kind that separates dreamers from doers. He started by reclaiming 1 hour. 1 hour before sunrise. No distractions, no excuses to build something that belonged to him. At first, it was just a small side hustle, freelancing, then e-commerce, then digital products. It didn't pay much, but it paid something even greater. Belief. Belief that he could create income without permission. Belief that he could own his time. Belief that he didn't have to beg the system to survive. 2 years later, Victor wasn't in traffic anymore. He was watching the sunrise from his balcony, the same hour, but a different life. He hadn't quit his job. The job quit him because he no longer needed it. That's what buying your freedom looks like. It's not a moment, it's a method. You don't escape the rat race overnight. You escape by design. Start with your mindset. Shift from consumer to creator. Most people spend every dollar they earn, then borrow to spend more buying things that lose value while ignoring the one thing that gains it, themselves. The first investment you ever make should be in skills. Because skills create leverage, and leverage creates freedom. Learn how to sell, how to communicate, how to build, how to market, how to think. If you can solve problems, you'll never be trapped again. Next, build assets, things that work when you don't. Digital products, rental income, content, businesses, investments, anything that keeps generating value even when you're sleeping. You can't escape the rat race if your income stops when you rest. That's not freedom. That's dependency, dressed up as stability. Freedom means your money and your mind work harder than your body. It means your systems make decisions while you're living your life. But here's the part nobody tells you. Buying your freedom requires sacrifice. You'll have to give up comfort. You'll have to walk away from approval. You'll have to say no to things everyone else celebrates. Freedom isn't free. It's financed by discomfort. And that's why most people never buy it. They want the results without the restraint. They want independence without isolation. They want freedom without friction. But you can't escape the rat race by acting like everyone inside it. You'll have to outthink, outlearn, and outlast them. The system won't clap when you start breaking free. It will fight you. It will tempt you with distraction, seduce you with comfort, and shame you with fear. But when that happens, remember, every cage shakes before it breaks. Stay disciplined. Stay intentional. Stay uncomfortable, because on the other side of that pain is peace. The peace of waking up every day knowing you own your time, you own your choices, you own your life. Freedom doesn't begin with quitting your job. It begins with quitting your excuses. Because the moment you realize that the system only has power when you obey it, that's the moment you begin to escape it. And from that moment on, every decision you make becomes an act of rebellion. Every choice to build, learn, invest, or create becomes a declaration. I refuse to run in circles anymore. Because you weren't born to run the race. You were born to redesign it. The rat race doesn't begin with money. It begins with belief. Before they can control your time, they must first control your mind. That's why the system doesn't start with debt or bills. It starts with education. From the moment you were a child, you were taught how to obey, not how to think. You were rewarded for repeating answers, not asking questions. You were told what success looked like: grades, degrees, promotions, and then quietly programmed to chase approval instead of purpose. The truth is, the system doesn't raise thinkers. It raises workers. People who can follow instructions, meet deadlines, and never stop to ask why. They taught you everything except how to be free. If you want to buy your freedom, you have to reprogram your mind. You have to unlearn the lies that built your prison. Lie number 1: security is safety. No, security is dependence in disguise. You think you're safe because your paycheck arrives every month. But you're one decision away, one budget cut, one economic downturn from starting all over again. That's not safety. That's submission wrapped in comfort. Lie number 2: debt is normal. No, it's not. Debt is the leash that keeps you running in circles. It's how the system guarantees that your future belongs to them. You borrow to survive, and they collect your peace as interest. Lie number 3. You need permission to succeed. You don't. You only need courage to begin. Most people never start because they're waiting for validation from family, from friends, from the world. But the moment you start building something that belongs to you, you stop asking for permission. You start taking ownership. The first step to mental freedom is awareness. You have to see the cage before you can escape it. Ask yourself, who benefits from my exhaustion? Who profits from my fear? Who gains when I stay confused? Every advertisement, every credit card offer, every social media scroll is designed to keep you distracted, consuming, and competing. You compare your behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel. You spend what you haven't earned to impress people who don't care. And then you call that living. That's not living. That's automated existence. That's the rat race in high definition. Freedom begins when you stop playing their game. To escape, you have to choose discomfort. You have to trade instant pleasure for lasting peace. It's not easy. You'll feel resistance from others and from yourself, because every time you start leveling up, the old version of you fights to stay alive. It whispers, stay safe. It begs, don't risk it. It reminds you of every failure, every doubt, every moment you almost gave up. But here's the truth. That voice isn't protecting you. It's possessing you. It's the ghost of your conditioning, and if you listen too long, it becomes your master. Freedom requires killing that voice. Not once, but every single day. Let's talk about mindset, because that's where every escape begins. When you live in the rat race, your mindset is reactive. You wake up responding to messages, to bills, to demands, to noise. Your day is a series of reactions, not creations. But the wealthy, the free, they think differently. They don't wake up asking, what do I have to do today? They wake up asking, what do I want to create today? One question leads to survival. The other leads to sovereignty. You can't be free while living reactively. You must shift from reacting to designing. Design your time. Design your income. Design your life. Because if you don't design it, someone else will, and they'll design it for their benefit, not yours. There was a woman named Lee. She worked 12-hour shifts as a nurse, double shifts, double exhaustion. Her dream wasn't luxury. It was time. Time with her kids. Time to breathe. Time to live. But she was trapped. Bills, loans, expectations. Every month she promised herself she'd start her business next payday, next week, next year. But next never came. Then one night, after another endless shift, she overheard a patient, an old man, frail but alert, whisper to his daughter, "If I could live again, I'd spend less time earning and more time living." That sentence haunted her. She realized she'd spent a decade saving lives, but none of that saved her own. So she decided to build something small. A digital health coaching service. One video, one article, one client. That was her start. A year later, she cut her shifts in half. 2 years later, she walked away from the hospital completely, not out of anger, but gratitude. Gratitude for the life it taught her she didn't want forever. Lee didn't win the rat race. She escaped it, not by quitting recklessly, but by creating relentlessly. That's how freedom is built, not overnight, but over courage. Now listen carefully. The system wants you distracted, because distraction delays destiny. If you want out, focus is your weapon. Protect your attention like your life depends on it, because it does. Every scroll, every pointless argument, every wasted hour, those are minutes you can never buy back. The wealthy understand something the average person ignores. Money replenishes. Time does not. Every hour you trade for something meaningless is an hour stolen from your freedom. That's why discipline isn't punishment, it's protection. It's how you guard the life you're building from the noise that wants to destroy it. Freedom is not a lifestyle. It's a philosophy. It's the belief that you have the power to design your existence. It's the courage to say no when the world says yes. It's the humility to start small and the endurance to stay consistent. Because every act of creation, every business, every skill, every investment starts as a single decision. I will not waste this life. That decision is the seed. Discipline is the soil. And time is the sun that helps it grow. Plant wisely. When you finally begin to escape the rat race, you'll notice something strange. The world becomes quieter. You stop rushing. You start choosing. You stop chasing validation. You start valuing freedom. And one morning, maybe years from now, you'll wake up, not to an alarm, but to peace. You'll realize that you didn't buy freedom with money. You bought it with courage, clarity, and consistency. Because freedom isn't a destination. It's a discipline. And every moment you live with intention, you're buying a little more of it. Freedom isn't an accident. It's a system. People think freedom means doing whatever you want, whenever you want. But that's not freedom. That's chaos. True freedom is when your life runs smoothly because you designed it that way. It's when money works while you rest, when your time compounds instead of collapses. It's not the absence of discipline, it's the mastery of it. You don't escape the rat race by running faster. You escape it by building smarter. Every wealthy, independent, and self-made person in history learned this truth. If your income depends on your presence, you're still trapped. Freedom starts when money stops needing your time to exist. Let's break it down. The system that traps you runs on one formula: time for money. You sell hours. They buy control. The less time you have, the more control they gain. So the first step to buying your freedom is to flip that formula to make money without giving away time. It sounds impossible until you realize it's what every business owner, investor, and digital creator has already done. They built systems that run while they sleep. They learned how to detach income from effort. And that, right there, is your key to freedom. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you don't build systems, you become one. You become the system that someone else profits from. Your energy fuels their vision. Your hours grow their empire. And they compensate you just enough to keep you from leaving. They call it a salary. You call it stability. But it's really a contract of controlled dreams. If you want to change that, you have to build your own system. Not one based on luck, but leverage. Leverage means doing the work once and getting paid forever. That could be digital products, online services, automated businesses, or smart investments. It's anything that earns when you're not actively earning. Every dollar that arrives while you're asleep, that's freedom's voice whispering, "You're getting closer." But here's where most people fail. They confuse activity with progress. They work harder, not smarter. They chase trends instead of building timeless value. They try 10 different things in 10 weeks and give up when none explode. Freedom isn't built in chaos. It's built in focus. One well-designed system is worth more than 100 random efforts. You don't need a dozen income streams. You need one stream that flows while you build the next. Focus on building something sustainable, something that can scale, something that compounds. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to keep it spinning. Let's talk about how. To build a freedom system, you need 3 foundations: automation, ownership, and consistency. Automation means your system can function with minimal human effort. That could be technology like software that sells for you, delivers for you, or markets for you. It could be outsourcing, paying someone to handle repetitive work while you focus on creation. Automation is what replaces hours with structure. Ownership means you control the assets that generate income. You're not just renting your time or building someone else's brand. You own the product, the platform, or the intellectual property. If you don't own it, you can't scale it. And if you can't scale it, you can't buy freedom. Consistency is the glue that makes the first 2 work. No system succeeds without time. You can't plant a seed and expect fruit tomorrow. You have to water it daily, patiently, relentlessly, until it grows roots deep enough to survive on its own. There's a man named David who understood this principle. He worked as a mechanic 12 years fixing cars, always broke, always tired. He was talented, but trapped. One day, his friend asked him, "Why don't you teach others what you know online?" At first, David laughed. "Who would pay to watch me fix cars?" he said. But then he tried it anyway. He started a YouTube channel. No fancy camera, no big plan, just his phone and his knowledge. He posted once a week, then twice, then 3 times. For 6 months, nothing happened. 50 views here, 100 there. But he kept going consistently, patiently, without quitting. Then one of his videos went viral. How to fix your engine without a mechanic. It hit 1 million views in a month. Suddenly, brands called. Sponsors reached out. He created an online course teaching car owners how to diagnose problems. That course made more in 1 week than his job paid in 3 months. 2 years later, David wasn't fixing cars anymore. He was running an online brand that made money while he slept. He didn't win a lottery. He built a system, and that's how he bought his freedom. Systems don't require genius. They require persistence. You don't need connections. You need consistency. You don't need millions to start. You just need momentum. Most people fail not because the opportunity wasn't real, but because they quit before it matured. They want freedom, but they don't want the foundation. They crave the reward, but avoid the repetition. Freedom doesn't come from what you do once it comes from what you do daily. Every system begins as a seed, small, quiet, invisible. You'll water it for months before anyone notices. But one day, it'll grow tall enough to shade the old life you left behind. That's when you realize you never escaped the rat race by running faster. You escaped because you stopped running altogether and started building something that runs for you. That's the discipline of freedom. The courage to start, the patience to continue, and the wisdom to keep it growing. Here's the harsh truth about freedom. It's not built on motivation alone. It's built on mechanics. Motivation gives you the spark, but systems keep the fire alive when the excitement fades. Anyone can get inspired for a day. Only the discipline turn that spark into something sustainable. If you want to buy your freedom, you must learn to think like an architect. An architect doesn't start with bricks. He starts with a blueprint. He plans the structure before he lays the first stone. That's what wealth builders do. They design their lives intentionally. Every choice, every dollar, every hour has a purpose. Their systems don't happen by chance. They happen by choice. Let's build your blueprint. To create a system that sets you free, You need to understand one golden rule. Freedom comes from scaling value, not time. That means the more people your value reaches, the more income you can create without expanding your hours. That's how wealth multiplies, not through harder work, but through wider impact. If your skill or message can only reach one person at a time, you're limited. But if it can reach thousands or millions, you've unlocked leverage, and leverage buys freedom. There are 3 kinds of leverage you must master: digital leverage, skill leverage, and network leverage. Digital leverage is when you use technology to expand your reach. Think of content, automation, and digital assets. Every video, course, ebook, or system that lives online can work for you 24/7. The internet is the greatest equalizer of our time. It doesn't care about your background, your degree, or your past. It only rewards one thing: value. If your value solves problems, people will pay attention. And if you solve problems consistently, they'll pay you repeatedly. That's the essence of digital freedom: creating once, earning forever. Skill leverage is your second pillar. Skills are your currency. The more rare and relevant they are, the more valuable your time becomes. But freedom doesn't come from having skills. It comes from combining them. For example, a good writer is valuable. A good marketer is valuable. But a person who can write and market can create a business. A good fitness coach can train people. But a fitness coach who understands social media can train the world. Stack your skills. That's how you build unshakable leverage, because when you combine abilities, you multiply your power. Network leverage is the final multiplier. Your network is not just people you know. It's the ecosystem that amplifies your growth. The wrong network drains your time. The right one multiplies your results. When you surround yourself with builders, thinkers, and doers, your standard automatically rises. You can't play small when you're standing next to people who demand greatness. That's why freedom-minded people guard their circle as tightly as they guard their money. They understand that environment beats willpower, because if you're always around people chasing comfort, discipline will start to feel like rebellion. But when you're around people chasing greatness, discipline becomes normal. So how do these 3 types of leverage, digital, skill, and network, come together? They form what I call the freedom engine. Here's how it works. You create value that solves a real problem. You package that value into something scalable: digital content, service, or product. You automate or outsource the delivery. You grow your audience or customers using systems, not sweat. You reinvest the profits into new assets that produce even more income. That's not a get-rich scheme. That's a get-free framework. Because when your system grows, your dependence on labor shrinks, and every hour saved becomes another piece of your freedom. There's a story of a young man named Carlos. He worked 2 jobs: morning shift at a warehouse, night shift delivering food. He was exhausted, but he refused to quit. He knew there had to be another way. One day, he heard about digital design. He started learning it from free YouTube tutorials. At first, it was hard. He almost gave up 5 times in the first month. But something inside him whispered, "Stay consistent." After 6 months, he started offering small logo designs online. At first, $20 a project. Then, $50. Then, $200. Within a year, he was earning more from his side work than both jobs combined. He automated his order system, built templates, and trained 2 other designers to handle overflow. Today, Carlos doesn't clock in anywhere. He owns a digital design studio that works around the clock, even when he's not. He didn't find freedom in escape. He found it in evolution. He built leverage, and that leverage bought back his life. That's how freedom works. Not overnight, not by chance, but by design. You don't need luck. You need leverage. You don't need magic. You need mechanics. The rat race traps you by making you think hard work alone will save you. It won't. Hard work builds survival. Smart systems build sovereignty. And sovereignty is the ultimate form of wealth. Because when you can choose what to do, when to do it, and who to do it with, you've already won. Remember this truth. Every action you take is building one of two things, a cage or a key. If your work only exists when you show up, you're reinforcing the cage. If your work continues while you rest, you're shaping the key. Most people never realize they're holding the tools to their own freedom. But you right now do. And the moment you choose to start building, you begin writing your exit strategy from the system that's been consuming you. Freedom doesn't wait. It's built, brick by brick, system by system, decision by decision. And that construction begins today. Now that you understand how systems create freedom, it's time to learn how to make those systems multiply what they produce. Because earning is only the first stage of freedom. Keeping and multiplying is the second. And this is where most people fall short, not because they're lazy, but because they were never taught the language of money. The world trains you to spend money. Freedom demands that you learn how to command it. You see, money is like energy. It flows where it's directed. And if you don't tell it what to do, it will quietly disappear, doing what everyone else wants. Let's make this simple. There are only 3 things you can do with money: spend it, save it, or multiply it. Most people stop at the first. The disciplined few reach the second. But the free ones, the architects of their lives, master the third. To multiply money, you must stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like an investor. A consumer buys what feels good. An investor buys what works. A consumer asks, "Can I afford this?" An investor asks, "Will this make me more valuable?" Freedom isn't built by what you buy. It's built by what you build. Here's your blueprint for multiplying wealth. 1. Separate your income into systems. 2. Automate your savings. 3. Invest in assets that outwork you. Let's break this down. Step 1. Separate your income into systems. Every dollar you earn should already have a purpose before it hits your account. You need buckets, not chaos. Think in ratios, not emotions. For example, 50% of income covers needs and responsibilities. 30% fuels investments and business growth. 10% goes into learning and personal development. 10% rewards your discipline. Yes, you must celebrate the wins too. Because if you don't control your money, your emotions will. Step 2. Automate your savings. Discipline is strongest when you remove choice from the equation. If you have to decide to save every month, you've already lost the battle. Set it, forget it, and let consistency do the work. The richest people in the world don't rely on willpower. They rely on systems that don't ask for permission. Freedom doesn't come from being smart once it comes from being consistent, always. Step 3. Invest in assets that outwork you. The poor buy liabilities, things that fade. The middle class buys comfort things that maintain. The wealthy buy assets, things that multiply. An asset is anything that earns while you sleep. That could be real estate, digital assets, stocks, or an automated business. The form doesn't matter. The function does. Every dollar should be a worker. If your money isn't working for you, you're still working for it. And when your money starts earning more than your labor, that's the first day you truly own your time. Let me tell you a quick story. A woman named Karen worked as a teacher for 10 years. She was disciplined, smart, and patient, but trapped. Her salary was barely enough to live, and she dreamed of a life where she didn't count every expense. One day, she decided to learn about investing. She started small, just $100 a month in a local cooperative that reinvested in small businesses. She didn't see much at first, but she stayed consistent. After 3 years, she used her profits to buy a small piece of land. 2 years later, she built 2 rental units on it. That rent began to cover her bills. Karen didn't stop there. She reinvested again and again. By her 40s, her income from assets was triple her salary. She wasn't a millionaire, but she was free. Freedom isn't about the number in your account. It's about the control in your calendar. Now, here's the truth. Most people don't want to hear. The rat race doesn't end when you make more money. It ends when you need less. When you build systems that generate income, when your lifestyle doesn't rise with every paycheck, when your value creates opportunities beyond your presence, that's when you've escaped. Because freedom isn't a destination, it's a system you live by daily. It's discipline disguised as design. So, if you want to escape the rat race, stop chasing shortcuts. Stop looking for permission. Start building. Your habits are the foundation. Your systems are the structure. Your assets are the engine. Each choice, each dollar, each day builds the framework of your freedom. And one day you'll wake up and realize you no longer work for money. It works for you. That's the day you'll feel it. The quiet satisfaction of knowing you built it all yourself. No boss, no clock, no cage. Just time. The purest currency of all. Most people never realize this. The real prison isn't the job. It's the mind that believes there's no life beyond it. You can quit the 9 to 5 and still wake up every day trapped by anxiety, trapped by comparison, trapped by habits that whisper, "You're not enough yet." You can earn 6 figures and still feel poor. You can move to a bigger house and still feel small. You can buy freedom with money and still never feel free. That's because freedom isn't financial. First, it's psychological. You have to escape in your mind before you escape in your life. Let's tell the truth. Most people are addicted to the security of the rat race. They hate it, yet they cling to it. The monthly salary, the predictable pattern, the illusion of stability, it becomes a drug. And like any addiction, it numbs the pain of uncertainty. Freedom is terrifying to those who have never tasted it. Because when you're free, there's no one left to blame. No boss. No system. No excuses. Freedom demands responsibility. And that's why only the few ever claim it. Here's the paradox. People say they want freedom, but what they really want is comfort. They want the fantasy of being their own boss, but not the discipline of managing themselves. They want the luxury of time, but not the discomfort of patience. And that's why the rat race continues. Not because people are incapable, but because they've mistaken comfort for peace. Comfort is the slowest poison on earth. It keeps you content just enough to never fight for more. If you truly want to buy your freedom, you must first detox your mind. You have to unlearn the habits that keep you dependent mentally, emotionally, and financially. Here's what that detox looks like. Stop living for approval. The rat race feeds on comparison. It tells you success is looking richer than your neighbor. But freedom means not needing to prove you're winning, you simply are. Detach your identity from your income. You are not your salary. You are not your job title. You are not the brand you wear or the car you drive. The moment you start measuring your worth by your possessions, you've handed your power to them. Train your mind to love uncertainty. Freedom lives in the unknown. That's where creativity is born. That's where bold decisions are made. If you need certainty to feel safe, you'll stay where you are. There's a reason why the richest people in the world read constantly. It's not just for knowledge. It's to reprogram their inner narrative. Every time you feed your mind with new ideas, you loosen another chain around your old identity. You stop thinking like a worker and start thinking like a creator. You stop asking, "What can I get?" and start asking, "What can I build?" That's the moment your mind begins to align with freedom. Let me show you through a real story. Douglas was a mid-level accountant in New York. He made good money, owned a car, lived in a quiet estate. By all appearances, he had escaped. But every morning, he woke up tired. Not physically, mentally. He hated the repetition, the small talk, the endless numbers that meant nothing to him. He dreamed of running his own business, of creating something meaningful. But fear always held him back. What if I fail? What if I lose everything? What will people say? Then one day, something shifted. He read a quote that said, "If you don't build your dream, someone else will hire you to build theirs." It hit him so hard he couldn't sleep that night. A few months later, he started a small financial consultancy on the side. It didn't make much at first, but the pride he felt, the energy was something his paycheck had never given him. Years later, that business replaced his job entirely. And now he says something powerful. The hardest part wasn't leaving the office. It was leaving the version of myself that believed I couldn't. That's the real prison break. You can't buy freedom with fear. You can only buy it with courage. The people who escape the rat race aren't the smartest. They're the ones who move despite fear. They understand that failure isn't final. It's data. Every loss is information. Every setback is feedback. Discipline builds the system. Courage activates it. The two together are unstoppable. Freedom isn't a gift. It's a fight. And that fight happens inside your mind long before it happens in your wallet. So, if you truly want to escape the rat race, start here, not with your job, not with your bank account, but with the voice in your head that says, "You can't." Silence it. Replace it. Rebuild it. Because the moment your mind accepts that freedom is possible, your reality will start bending to prove it right. You have the tools. You have the time. And you have the choice. The question is, will you use them? Your escape begins the moment you decide you're done being trapped. Not someday. Not when the paycheck grows. But today. Because freedom, my friend, isn't waiting for you. It's waiting inside you. Everyone wants freedom. But almost no one wants the price tag that comes with it. They dream of waking up when they want, traveling where they please, earning money on their terms. But the moment sacrifice knocks, they run back to safety. Here's the truth. Freedom is expensive, but not in money. It demands something deeper. It demands your comfort, your old identity, your excuses, and every illusion you've ever used to protect your mediocrity. You can't buy freedom with laziness. You can't buy it with fear. You buy it with the hard currency of discipline, delay, and deliberate discomfort. Freedom is not for everyone. It is for the few who are willing to pay full price. Let's strip away the fantasy. To escape the rat race, you must sacrifice certainty. Because in the beginning, freedom feels like falling. No steady paycheck. No guaranteed outcome. Just you, your faith, your ideas, your consistency. It's terrifying. And that's why most people never start. But here's the paradox. That uncertainty you fear, it's also the soil where your independence grows. Comfort keeps you dependent. Uncertainty forces you to become capable. If you want to own your time, you must first surrender your guarantees. Every step toward freedom comes with an invisible trade-off. You lose something familiar to gain something greater. You lose stability to gain opportunity. You lose approval to gain authenticity. You lose predictability to gain potential. The weak cling to what they know. The strong release it because they understand that letting go is not losing. It's making space. Freedom demands space, mental, emotional, and even physical. Space to think differently. Space to fail safely. Space to evolve without judgment. If your life is too crowded with noise, people, or distractions, you'll never hear the voice of your own destiny. I remember a story about a man named John. He worked in a corporate office for 12 years, good pay, clean suit, nice house. But he was empty. He always said, "One day, I'll start my own firm." But one day kept moving further away. Until one morning, after another exhausting meeting, he looked at his reflection in the elevator mirror and didn't recognize himself anymore. That day, he resigned. No plan B, just a burning conviction that his soul was dying in a cubicle. For the next 2 years, John struggled. He sold furniture. He borrowed money. He failed over and over. But he also grew. He learned how to sell, how to market, how to lead. He built something with his hands, and when his business finally took off, he said something I'll never forget. "Freedom didn't come the day I made money. It came the day I stopped being afraid of losing it." That's the price of freedom, not just what you give up, but what you become in the process. You will have to sacrifice comfort. You will have to walk away from circles that keep you small. You will have to outgrow conversations that used to excite you. Because not everyone is meant to go with you. You cannot fly while holding on to the hands of those who love the ground. When you begin to rise, they'll call you arrogant. When you start changing your habits, they'll call you fake. When you stop spending time the way you used to, they'll say you've changed. And you have. You're supposed to. Freedom will isolate you before it elevates you. That isolation isn't punishment, it's preparation. It's the silence where clarity is born. There's another sacrifice people rarely talk about. You must give up your need to be understood. When you chase freedom, you'll confuse those who gave up chasing long ago. They won't understand why you'd risk your comfort, why you'd choose uncertainty over stability, why you'd work longer hours for something that doesn't pay immediately. And that's okay. They're not supposed to understand. Because your vision wasn't given to them, it was given to you. The moment you stop needing applause for every step you take, you'll start moving faster. The noise of approval is the anchor of the average. Silence is the anthem of the focused. To buy your freedom, you'll also have to sacrifice time, not waste it, invest it. The first few years of building your freedom will feel lonely. While your friends are partying, you'll be planning. While they're watching shows, you'll be studying. While they're chasing pleasure, you'll be chasing purpose. But one day, the same people who doubted you will call you lucky. Luck is just the name the undisciplined give to consistency. You will not see results immediately, and that's where most people break. They want freedom at the speed of Wi-Fi, but real transformation is measured in seasons, not seconds. You'll sacrifice certainty. You'll sacrifice comfort. You'll sacrifice validation. You'll sacrifice time. But what you gain in return is worth more than anything the world can offer. You gain clarity, the kind that makes waking up exciting again. You gain control over your schedule, your energy, your destiny. You gain peace because you no longer depend on someone else's permission to live your life. And when that moment comes, you'll realize that every sacrifice was simply a trade: comfort for greatness, certainty for purpose, fear for freedom. Let me paint a small picture. Imagine a craftsman sitting alone in his workshop. It's midnight. The lights are dim. His friends are asleep, but he's there shaping wood, smoothing edges, sweating over his dream. Most people would look at him and say, he's wasting his night. But years later, they'll pay for what he built in silence. Freedom is forged in private long before it's celebrated in public. The hours you spend learning, failing, building, those hours are the down payment on your freedom. You don't owe them to anyone else. You owe them to your future self. When you finally pay that price, freedom becomes more than a goal. It becomes your nature. You stop fearing work because it's yours. You stop chasing approval because you've earned your respect. You stop begging for time because you own your clock. And that's when life shifts. You start creating from abundance, not desperation. You start making decisions based on purpose, not panic. You start living, truly living. That's the real reward. But there's one more sacrifice, the biggest of them all, and without it, every other one fails. It's not money. It's not time. It's not approval. It's the old version of you. Because freedom demands rebirth. You can't take the old you into the new life you're building. And that's where we go next. Before you can step into the life you dream of, you have to bury the version of yourself that keeps you from it. This is the hardest sacrifice of all, because it's not external. It's not something you can buy, sell, or give away. It's you, the lazy you, the fearful you, the one who says, tomorrow, the one who blames the system, the one who starts strong but never finishes. That version must die. You can't bring old habits into a new destiny. You can't wear discipline like a jacket you put on when it's convenient. You have to become it. And that means destroying the identity built on excuses. You see, the reason most people never escape the rat race isn't because they lack opportunity. It's because they refuse to let go of the identity that thrives inside it. The identity that says, I'm not good enough. I'm not ready yet. I'll start when it's safer. Freedom doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It waits for you to get serious. Think about it. Every major change in life requires a death before rebirth. When a seed becomes a tree, the seed dies. When a caterpillar becomes a butterfly, the cocoon breaks. When you become free, your old life collapses. This is the universal law of transformation. Something must end for something greater to begin. That ending is painful, messy, and uncertain, but it's necessary. Because if you refuse to let go of your old self, you'll drag it with you into every new opportunity until it poisons your progress. You can't build wealth with a broke mindset. You can't build confidence while clinging to self-doubt. You can't claim freedom while still seeking validation from people who settled. You have to burn the bridge to the old you completely. And here's the raw truth. The old you won't go quietly. It will fight to survive. It will whisper every fear you've ever believed. It will make you doubt your progress, question your abilities, and crave the comfort you left behind. It will tell you, maybe you should just go back to your job. Maybe you should slow down. Maybe freedom isn't for you. But it's lying. It's the voice of your old self, trying to survive extinction. You cannot negotiate with your limitations. You can only replace them. Let me give you a story. There was a man named Michael. He was brilliant, ambitious, creative, full of ideas. But he had one weakness. he couldn't finish anything he started. He'd read books halfway, start projects halfway, dream halfway, and then quit. He always said, "I just don't have time." One day his mentor said to him, "Michael, your problem isn't time, it's identity. You keep trying to build success with the mindset of someone who quits." That day hit him hard. He realized he didn't need new opportunities. He needed a new self. So he made a vow. For the next 6 months, he'd finish everything he started. No excuses. He didn't care if it was small. If he began it, he'd complete it. At first, it was brutal. His old habits screamed for attention. Procrastination clawed at him like a shadow. But over time, something strange happened. He started to change. Not his skills, not his tools, his identity. He began to see himself as someone who finishes, someone who follows through. That one shift changed everything. Within a year, he built a thriving online business. Within 2, he was mentoring others. And when someone asked how he did it, he smiled and said, "I didn't find success. I buried the version of me that kept missing it." That's what killing the old you means. It's not destruction, it's evolution. So let me ask you, who is the version of you that must die for your freedom to live? Is it the version that scrolls endlessly instead of studying? The version that says, "I'll start next week"? The version that dreams of success but never tracks the effort? The version that talks big but fears small failures? Be honest. Because honesty is the knife that cuts the rope to your old life. You can't lie your way into freedom. You have to confront the truth, bleed a little, and rebuild. This process hurts. It will break your ego. It will test your patience. It will make you question everything you thought you were. But that pain is proof you're evolving. Growth doesn't feel like victory. It feels like loss, because you are losing the version of yourself that was built to survive, so you can become the version that was born to win. Here's what nobody tells you about personal transformation. It's lonely because it's sacred. Not everyone will understand. Not everyone will clap. And that's okay. This is your private war. You against the version of yourself that wasted time. You against the part that loves comfort more than progress. And every day you choose growth, you win a small battle in the war for your freedom. You won't see the results immediately. But one morning, you'll wake up, look in the mirror, and realize the old you is gone. You'll walk differently, think differently, speak differently, and the world will respond to that new frequency. Because once you kill the old you, nothing around you can stay the same. Freedom doesn't just require new habits, it requires a new identity. You can't think your way into that identity, you have to live it. Every action you take is a vote for the person you're becoming. Every choice either feeds the old you or the new one. Discipline feeds the new. Excuses feed the old. And whichever you feed most wins. So feed your focus. Feed your habits. Feed your vision. Starve your fears. Starve your comfort. Starve your excuses. Because one day, the old you will beg to come back. Don't let it. The world you're building has no space for who you used to be. This is the true cost of freedom. Not the money, not the time, but the rebirth of self. When you finally let go of everything you were, you make room for everything you can become. And that version of you, the focused, fearless, unstoppable version, is the only one capable of living free. Nobody warns you about the emotional price of freedom. They tell you to chase your dreams, but they don't tell you what it feels like when you do. They don't tell you about the silence that follows after you quit the job, or the long nights when the world is asleep and you start asking yourself, did I make the right choice? Freedom looks glamorous on the outside, but inside, it's raw, lonely, and terrifying. Because the moment you decide to build your own path, you step into a world where there's no one to clap for you, no one to guide you, and no guarantees that it will work. And yet, that's exactly what makes it beautiful. When you work for someone else, you trade your anxiety for predictability. And you know when the next paycheck is coming. You know your schedule. You know what's expected. But when you break free, when you decide that your time, your talent, and your future belong to you, you also decide to live without that certainty. That's the emotional battlefield where freedom is forged. And it's there, in that silent war between fear and faith, that most people turn back. Not because they're weak, but because nobody told them the truth. Freedom feels like falling before it feels like flying. Let's talk about fear. Fear is the first gatekeeper of freedom. It stands at the entrance of every great life and asks, how badly do you want it? Fear will make you question your worth. It will whisper, what if you fail? What if they laugh? What if you're not cut out for this? But let me tell you something. Every person you admire, every billionaire, artist, athlete, or visionary felt that same fear. The difference is, they kept moving anyway. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is obedience to your purpose, even when you're terrified. If you're scared, you're not broken, you're becoming. You must learn to dance with fear. Not fight it. Not run from it. But face it until it becomes part of your rhythm. When you walk through fear enough times, it loses its power. It becomes background noise. Fear doesn't disappear when you're successful. It just evolves. The goal is not to eliminate fear, but to master your response to it. Because fear has one job: to protect you from change. But if you obey it, it becomes your jailer. If you confront it, it becomes your teacher. So the next time fear speaks, don't argue. Listen. Understand what it's trying to protect. Then do the thing anyway. That's freedom. Now let's talk about loneliness. When you rise alone. Not because you want to, but because growth naturally separates you from those who aren't willing to evolve. When you start choosing discipline over distraction, purpose over pleasure, vision over validation, you become different. And difference is uncomfortable. People who once understood you will stop recognizing you. You'll feel the distance growing between you and your circle. Some will mock your focus. Others will say, you've changed. And they're right. You have. But that's what growth is supposed to do. The higher you climb, the quieter it gets. Because fewer people are willing to climb that high. Success isn't lonely because others abandon you. It's lonely because few are willing to endure the pressure it takes to rise. And yet, that loneliness is sacred. It's in those silent seasons that you meet the real you, the version of you that doesn't need validation, doesn't chase applause, and doesn't crumble under rejection. It's in the quiet that your purpose becomes clear. Most people will never experience that silence because they fill it with noise, distractions, gossip, endless scrolling, constant comparison. But not you. You are learning to be still, to find power in solitude. Because the truth is, loneliness is not emptiness. It's space for you to rebuild, refocus, and reconnect with your vision. And then comes doubt, the most dangerous emotion of them all. Doubt is not loud like fear. It's subtle, polite. It sounds rational. It says, maybe this isn't working. Maybe you should take it easy. Maybe you should just do what everyone else is doing. And if you listen long enough, You'll start making logical arguments against your own dreams. Doubt doesn't attack your skills, it attacks your belief. And once belief falls, discipline follows. That's why you must protect your belief like treasure. Guard it with routines. Feed it with results. Defend it with faith. Because when you believe in your vision long enough, the world eventually believes with you. Here's what separates winners from quitters. Winners feel fear, loneliness, and doubt, but they don't obey them. They use fear as energy. They use loneliness as focus. They use doubt as fuel. The emotions that stop others become the resistance that strengthens them. Like a muscle built under pressure, your character grows stronger with every challenge you survive. Freedom isn't won in comfort. It's forged in emotional fire, the kind that burns away weakness and shapes resilience. I'll tell you a story. There was a woman named Nora. She worked a corporate job for 10 years. Good salary. Respectable life. But deep inside, she was dying. Every morning, she woke up with the same thought. There must be more than this. So one day, she quit. No plan, just conviction. She started an online business, small, uncertain, but hers. The first year was brutal. No friends understood. Family questioned her. Bills piled up. There were nights she sat in the dark, wondering if she'd made a terrible mistake. But she kept going because something inside her whispered, "Keep the faith, keep the fire." 3 years later, Nora wasn't just free. She was thriving financially, emotionally, spiritually. When asked how she did it, she said, "I stopped needing people to understand my journey. I just needed to understand my purpose." That's the emotional price of freedom, and it's worth every tear. So when you feel afraid, keep moving. When you feel lonely, stay focused. When you doubt yourself, remember why you started. Every emotion you feel on this path is a test. A test of endurance, a test of faith, a test of hunger. The emotions that try to break you are the same ones sculpting you into who you're meant to become. Because freedom isn't easy. It's not comfortable. It's not quick. It's earned, emotion by emotion, battle by battle, day by day. You will cry. You will question. You will fall. But you will rise stronger every time. Because freedom doesn't belong to the fearless. It belongs to the faithful. The ones who keep walking through the fire until the fire bows to them. And when that moment comes, when you stand tall, unshaken, unbroken, you'll realize the truth. You didn't escape the rat race. You outgrew it. Let's face it, most people don't work because they love their jobs. They work because they're trapped. Trapped in the endless loop of trading their time for survival. They wake up, drive themselves into traffic, serve hours for a paycheck that barely covers the bills, and repeat the cycle until their dreams fade into exhaustion. That's the money trap. And it's the single most powerful system designed to keep ordinary people from ever experiencing real freedom. Because here's the truth. You can't buy freedom with the same habits that built your prison. To escape the rat race, you must stop thinking like a laborer and start thinking like a creator. The poor and the middle class think in income. The wealthy think in systems. Income is temporary. Systems are permanent. When you depend on one source of income, your job, you're not free. You're owned. Your time is owned. Your emotions are owned. Even your dreams are owned because you must filter them through what your boss or paycheck will allow. But the moment you build a system, something that makes money without your constant presence, you start to buy back your time. And the moment you buy back your time, you start to buy back your life. Look around. The world is filled with systems. Every corporation, every app, every franchise is a system. They don't trade time. They own systems that trade for them. Jeff Bezos doesn't pack boxes at Amazon. Elon Musk doesn't sit behind the desk designing bolts for rockets. They created systems that function without them. So ask yourself, are you building a life that works because of you, or one that works without you? That question is the difference between being busy and being free. The first rule of breaking the money trap is this: stop confusing activity with productivity. Just because you're busy doesn't mean you're progressing. A hamster runs all day and gets nowhere. That's most people's life. They work for years without ever questioning the system they're in. They mistake the movement of the wheel for progress. But true freedom begins the moment you step off that wheel and ask, what if I built something that moved without me? That's the mindset of the wealthy. There's a reason the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. It's not a coincidence. It's a principle. Each stream is a system that pays them repeatedly for one effort. That's the definition of leverage. Leverage is what turns time into freedom. When you create something that earns money while you sleep, a book, a digital course, a business, an investment, you've multiplied your effort beyond time. And that's the secret the world doesn't teach you. The real game isn't to work harder. It's to make your work for you. Let's simplify it. To escape the money trap, you need 3 pillars. Financial discipline, managing what you already have. Value creation, offering something people will pay for even when you're not around. Leverage, multiplying your impact through systems, tools, or people. Miss any of these and you'll fall right back into the trap. Let's start with financial discipline. You can't build freedom on financial chaos. Most people don't have a money problem. They have a management problem. The more they earn, the more they spend. The more they spend, the deeper the trap becomes. Freedom doesn't start when you make more money. It starts when you control the money you already have. You must decide, I will no longer be a slave to lifestyle inflation. That new phone, that new car, that unnecessary upgrade, these are invisible chains. They make you feel rich while keeping you broke. Remember this, wealth is not about how much you make. It's about how long you can live without working. And if you're living paycheck to paycheck, no matter how big the paycheck is, you're still trapped. Financial discipline is the first rebellion against the system. It's the declaration that you will not let marketing dictate your identity. Every dollar you save is a soldier fighting for your freedom. Every investment is a brick in the wall of your independence. Stop spending to look rich. Start building to be free. Then comes the second pillar, value creation. If you want to escape the rat race, you must stop asking, how can I make more money? And start asking, how can I create more value? Money is not the goal, it's the reward. The reward for solving problems, serving others, and adding real value to the marketplace. People don't pay for your time. They pay for your impact. So stop chasing income and start building influence. Create something that improves lives, and money will chase you. That's how you transition from worker to creator. Let me tell you about a man named Donald. He worked as an accountant for 12 years. Every day was the same long hours, endless spreadsheets, constant stress. But deep down, Donald had a gift. He was brilliant at explaining financial concepts simply. So one night, after work, he started recording short videos teaching people about budgeting and savings. At first, nobody watched. Then, slowly, people began to listen. Within a year, he had built a loyal following online. He turned that into an ebook, then into an online course, then into a consulting service. Today, Donald no longer clocks into an office. He earns multiple streams of income from systems he built around his expertise. He didn't escape the system by luck, he built one. That's how real freedom starts, not by quitting your job overnight, but by building value in your spare time until it replaces your paycheck. This is the truth. Freedom is not a single act, it's a transition. It's a slow, deliberate migration from dependence to creation, from working for money to letting money work for you. And it begins with one decision to stop surviving and start building systems that set you free. The moment you understand that your income is tied to the value you create, you start to see the world differently. Suddenly, you realize that opportunities are everywhere, not just in offices or corporate ladders, but in skills, creativity, and ideas. Every problem around you is an open invitation to build wealth, because behind every problem lies someone who's willing to pay for a solution. That's how value works. It rewards problem solvers. If you can ease pain, save time, or make life better for others, you've already unlocked the code to freedom. But the truth is, most people never discover this. They spend years perfecting their ability to follow instructions instead of developing the courage to solve problems. The education system trains you to obey, not to create. It doesn't teach you how to think. It teaches you what to think. And that's why so many graduates end up working for entrepreneurs who dropped out of that same system. Because freedom doesn't come from certificates. It comes from courage. The courage to see things differently. The wealthy don't escape the money trap by luck. They escape it because they understand that the system is designed for consumers, not creators. When you consume, you feed someone else's system. When you create, you build your own. That's the shift. That's the real revolution. Every moment you spend creating, writing, designing, building, teaching, you're buying a piece of your own freedom. Every moment you spend scrolling, comparing, or complaining, you're paying rent to someone else's dream. Freedom isn't something you find. It's something you build, one disciplined decision at a time. Here's the secret no one tells you. Most of the people who look successful are not free. They have luxury, but not liberty. They have status, but not sovereignty. They're still slaves to image, to debt, to expectations. True wealth is not the car you drive or the house you own. It's waking up every morning and deciding what to do with your day because you own your time. That's the highest currency of all. Now let's move to the third pillar of breaking the money trap: leverage. Leverage is how ordinary people create extraordinary results. It's how one person with a laptop can reach millions. It's how one idea can outlive its creator. It's how 1 hour of work can pay you for years. Leverage multiplies your impact beyond your effort. And in today's world, leverage comes in 4 main forms: technology tools and automation that scale your reach, people teams, freelancers, or communities that multiply your output, media content that works for you even when you sleep, money investments that grow while you rest. Master these, and you no longer have to trade time for survival. Your time becomes an asset, not a currency. Let's use an example. Imagine a writer named Tunde. He spends 6 months writing a powerful ebook, something born from his experience, a guide that helps people learn a skill faster. When he publishes it, only a few people buy it at first. But over time, that book keeps selling. He doesn't rewrite it each time. He doesn't sit beside every buyer explaining the pages. He wrote it once, and it continues to pay him again and again. That's leverage. That's how one act of creation becomes a source of freedom. Now imagine he turns that book into an audiobook. Now his voice works for him. He builds an online course. Now his teaching works for him. He runs ads. Now technology works for him. He hires a virtual assistant. Now people work for him. He invests the profit. Now money works for him. Each new layer multiplies his freedom. That's how wealth is built, not by working harder, but by working smarter and longer through systems. Let's be honest. The system doesn't want you to know this. Because once you understand leverage, you become unstoppable. You no longer need permission to create. You no longer wait for opportunity. You manufacture it. The system thrives on dependency. It rewards obedience, not innovation. But once you begin to think in leverage, you see that your time is too valuable to trade for hourly pay. You see that your voice, your mind, your creativity are capital. And that's when you start designing your own economy. Let's pause and ask a question. If you stopped working today, how long could you survive? That's not a depressing question. It's an empowering one, because it tells you how free you really are. If your income stops the moment you stop working, you're not free, you're fragile. Freedom is measured by how long you can live on systems, not salaries. The goal is to build enough systems that your lifestyle is powered by assets, not labor. That's not a dream. It's a design. And it starts by making one small, strategic move every single day. Think of freedom like building a bridge across a river. You start with nothing, just an idea and a few planks. Each skill you learn, each system you build, each habit you master, is another plank on that bridge. At first, it feels like it's going nowhere. You're tired, frustrated, second-guessing yourself. But one day, you look back and realize you've crossed halfway. And then, one morning, you wake up and your bills are covered by systems. Your time belongs to you, and the bridge you built carries you wherever you choose to go. That's the day you escape the money trap. Here's the truth. Most won't admit financial freedom is not about luck, timing, or genius. It's about commitment. Commitment to self-education. Commitment to discipline. Commitment to delaying gratification while everyone else spins for attention. The rich play the long game. The poor play the weekend. While others are buying liabilities to look successful, you're building systems that will outlive your paycheck. That's not easy, but it's worth it. Because the reward isn't just money, it's control. Control over your time, your choices, your direction. That's what true wealth is. You are not meant to work until your soul grows numb. You are not meant to trade your dreams for job titles. You are meant to build, to create something that serves others and sets you free. Every act of creation is a protest against the system. Every step toward leverage is a step toward liberty. So, don't just chase income. Build impact. Build systems. Build freedom. Because when your work begins to work for you, that's when you finally stop surviving and start living. Freedom is not a fantasy. It's a formula. And the first step of that formula is mental independence. You can't build financial freedom with a worker's mindset. You can't think like an employee and live like an owner. Before you buy your freedom with money, you have to buy it with mindset. Because your thoughts are your first investment. They shape every decision, every risk, every opportunity you see or miss. Think about this. Two people can live in the same city, work the same job, earn the same income, but one keeps getting richer while the other keeps getting stuck. Why? Because one uses money as a tool, the other sees money as a reward. One asks, "How can I make my money work for me?" The other says, "How can I spend what I've earned?" That's the difference between rich thinking and poor thinking. Rich people invest first, spend later. Poor people spend first and hope to invest what's left. And that's why freedom isn't about the size of your paycheck. It's about the strength of your discipline. Let's get practical. Here are the 3 mental shifts that every free person makes. From effort to efficiency, stop asking, "How long can I work?" and start asking, "How much can I automate?" From consumption to creation, stop scrolling through content and start producing something the world needs. From security to scalability, stop building safety nets, start building ladders. Because security doesn't make you free, scalability does. Freedom is not comfort, it's control. And control is earned through clarity, consistency, and courage. Let's take a real-world example. Meet Susan. She worked for 10 years in a comfortable 9-to-5 job. Every month, she earned just enough to stay comfortable. Not poor, not rich. But one day, she realized something terrifying. If her company shut down tomorrow, her entire life would collapse. That's when she decided to start small. She began learning digital marketing at night after work. 6 months later, she got her first freelance client. A year later, she built a small agency. 2 years later, she quit her job. Today, Susan wakes up when she wants, works where she wants, and earns more in a week than she used to in a month. Was it luck? No. It was design. She didn't escape the rat race overnight. She built her bridge. One skill, one system, one decision at a time. That's how freedom is bought, not with money, but with mastery. The secret most people miss is this: you don't need millions to buy freedom. You just need enough cash flow to cover your lifestyle without working for it. That's called financial independence. It could be $500 a month. It could be $5,000. The number doesn't matter. The principle does. Once your income from assets, not effort, covers your expenses, you've escaped the rat race. Everything after that is just expansion. But here's the part nobody likes to hear. It takes sacrifice. You can't spend your freedom before you earn it. You can't live like the rich while you're still building wealth. The road to freedom is quiet. It's filled with discipline, delayed gratification, and thousands of invisible decisions that compound over time. While others chase validation, you're building value. While others post luxury, you're building legacy. While others party on weekends, you're investing in systems. That's the difference between lifestyle and life design. If you want to buy your freedom, you need 3 kinds of capital. Knowledge capital, your skills, experience, and insight. Social capital, your network, collaborations, and reputation. Financial capital, the money that fuels your mission. Knowledge gets you started. Social capital multiplies your reach. Financial capital scales your impact. But none of them matter if you lack discipline. Because discipline is the gatekeeper between potential and prosperity. Let's look at it this way. You could have the best idea in the world, but without execution, it's nothing. You could have all the skills, but without consistency, they decay. You could even have capital, but without focus, you'll lose it faster than you earned it. That's why most lottery winners go broke, and most disciplined savers become millionaires quietly. Wealth is not luck. It's leverage applied through time. Here's what wealthy people understand. Money is not the goal. Freedom is. They don't worship money, they use it. They don't chase paychecks, they chase assets. They don't buy luxury, they buy leverage. And every dollar they earn has a purpose: to buy them more time, more choice, more peace. That's what money should do. Not decorate your life, but liberate it. So, if you want to escape the rat race, start by redesigning your habits around wealth. Here's how. Track your time. Know where your energy truly goes. Save to invest, not to impress. Automate your growth systems over stress. Invest in knowledge before crypto, skills before stocks. Measure progress by freedom gained, not income earned. Because every smart financial move you make today is one less hour you'll have to sell tomorrow. One day, you'll wake up and realize that freedom isn't a dream. It's a result of every disciplined day, every smart investment, and every courageous decision you refuse to delay. And when that day comes, when your time belongs to you, when your income flows, whether you show up or not, you'll look back and smile, because you'll know that the hardest thing you ever built was your freedom. Freedom isn't something you win once. It's something you maintain deliberately, strategically, relentlessly. The real game begins the moment you stop trading hours for money. Because now, the challenge shifts. How do you keep the machine running when your hands are no longer on every gear? How do you make wealth grow without letting it consume the life it was built to protect? True freedom lives in systems, not in struggle. A system is money on autopilot. It's the invisible architecture that multiplies your time, your reach, your results. When you leave the rat race, you must replace the grind with governance. Structure replaces supervision. Metrics replace panic. Clarity replaces chaos. Every free person eventually faces this truth. You can't just earn your way to lasting independence. You have to engineer it. Think of your wealth as an ecosystem. It feeds itself when every part does its job. You're not the tree anymore. You're the gardener. Your task is pruning, fertilizing, protecting from storms. In practical terms, that means 3 words: automate, delegate, diversify. Automation turns effort into code-letting your routines. Handle what your emotions once controlled. Delegation turns independence into scale-letting other people's strengths. Expand your own. Diversification turns risk into resilience so that one failure can never erase your foundation. Start with automation. You can automate more than money. You can automate discipline. Schedule your investments so they happen before you can interfere. Use automatic transfers to push cash into assets before it tempts you into lifestyle creep. Set reminders for quarterly reviews, not daily reactions. Freedom thrives on consistency, not adrenaline. Every automated process is one less decision to drain your willpower. Imagine this: your paycheck arrives, and without a single click, 10% moves to long-term investments, 10% to an emergency buffer, 10% to skill growth or learning, and the rest to living. No debate, no delay, just direction. That's how you build invisible discipline, the kind that protects you when motivation fades. Next comes delegation. If you still do everything yourself, you're not free, you're just self-employed. Freedom means designing a team, even a small one, that buys back your hours. Hire virtual assistants for the repetitive, specialists for the technical, advisors for the complex. Pay people not to make you rich, but to make you unavailable for the trivial. You're buying focus. And focus is the most expensive currency of the free. When you delegate, you multiply your impact without multiplying your exhaustion. You transform from operator to owner, from task manager to time architect. Then comes diversification, the shield of all lasting wealth. One stream of income is one point of failure. The rat race collapses the moment your paycheck stops. True freedom weathers storms because it flows from many directions. Build your 3 tiers of freedom. Active freedom income from skills or business you control. Semi-passive freedom income from assets you maintain lightly. Real estate, digital products, royalties. Passive freedom income that needs no presence. Index funds, dividends, Automated systems. Balance them like an orchestra, each instrument playing its part, none dependent on another's sound. But systems are not enough. You must protect your mindset from decay. Because wealth without awareness breeds complacency. And complacency quietly reinvites the rat race, just wearing silk gloves. Keep learning. Keep sharpening. The market changes, technology evolves. What worked 5 years ago becomes obsolete. The free mind updates like software. Read new ideas. Attend new rooms. Audit your circle. Remove anyone who profits from your stagnation. Freedom isn't isolation, it's curated connection. Consider Ian. He escaped the corporate ladder with an e-commerce brand that exploded in year 3. Within months, he was earning in a week what used to take him a year. But he made one mistake. He thought the game was over. He stopped tracking metrics, trusted momentum, and built no system. When the market shifted and competition rose, his sales crashed. He wasn't broke, but he was back to panic. That's when he rebuilt his freedom the right way. He automated inventory management, hired a remote team, and diversified into digital courses. Within 18 months, income stabilized again, this time without his constant presence. Ian didn't just win back money, he won command. Because real independence is measured not by profit, but by predictability. Every free person eventually learns this lesson. If your business can't survive your absence, it owns you. If your money doesn't grow while you rest, you're still a worker, just better paid. The goal is to design wealth that functions without permission, without proximity, without panic. To do that, you need financial architecture, a blueprint that defines where every dollar lives and what job it performs. Start with 5 accounts, each with a mission. Freedom fund for investments and assets. Operating account, daily expenses and bills. Growth account, education, mentorship, self-development. Reserve account, 6-month safety net. Giving account, contribution and gratitude. Every inflow passes through this system. No guesswork, no guilt. You see exactly what you're building and why. That clarity is power, the kind that keeps your freedom organized, protected, and scalable. And here's the hidden benefit. Systems don't just secure money, they stabilize emotions. When your finances run on logic, your mind runs on peace. You stop fearing downturns because your plan already includes them. You stop chasing every trend because your compass is set. That's what wealthy calm feels like. Not the absence of challenge, but the presence of control. When you design your wealth like a machine, you also design your peace. Freedom without a system is chaos wearing a crown. If your money still controls your mood, you're not free yet. If your income still depends on your calendar, you're not free yet. Freedom means knowing that life can shift, markets can fall, algorithms can change, and you'll still stand. Because you've built resilience, not reliance. This is where most people fail. They escape the rat race financially, but not psychologically. They still chase numbers instead of meaning. They still work for validation instead of vision. The truly free understand something different. You don't scale by doing more. You scale by doing less, better. You refine, automate, and align everything around one principle: that your time is too valuable to be spent maintaining things that don't multiply. Here's how to keep wealth working for you long after you've stopped hustling for it. Build evergreen assets. Create products, systems, or intellectual property that never expire. Write the book once, but earn royalties forever. Record the course once, but sell it endlessly. Buy the property once, but collect rent for decades. Evergreen assets are wealth's renewable energy. Automate profit allocation. Never rely on memory or mood to move money. Have systems that allocate income automatically into your investment channels. If you earn in USD or NGN, set automated conversions, transfers, and portfolio balances monthly. Your system should act faster than your temptations. Build a freedom dashboard. Track only what matters: cash flow, growth rate, and time freedom index, the percentage of your income that doesn't require your effort. When your time freedom index crosses 80%, you've achieved functional freedom. That's when you own your days. Remember, wealth isn't about accumulation. It's about insulation, building walls of systems that protect your time, peace, and purpose. The goal isn't to escape work. It's to escape unnecessary work. There's a difference between being busy and being productive. And there's an even bigger difference between being productive and being fulfilled. The rich often fall back into the rat race by expanding their lifestyle instead of their leverage. They upgrade their house, not their systems. They buy more liabilities and call it success. Don't make that mistake. Let your wealth serve your mission, not your ego. Let's talk about real wealth. When Laura built her online education business, she promised herself she wouldn't become another prisoner of her own success. At first, she handled everything: marketing, emails, customer service. Money grew, but so did burnout. Then she changed her approach. She created a playbook, a digital operations manual. She documented every process and hired a small remote team. She automated her payment system, set up monthly marketing funnels, and used AI scheduling to handle customer inquiries. A year later, she took her first month off. Revenue didn't drop, it increased. Her business no longer needed her to survive. That's freedom. Not the freedom to escape work, but the freedom to choose when, how, and if you work. Here's the truth. Most self-made people eventually face: freedom fades when systems stagnate. If your wealth doesn't evolve, it evaporates. That's why automation isn't a one-time act. It's a living process. Every quarter, review and refine. Ask, what can I remove, replace, or replicate? Remove tasks that no longer had value. Replace manual effort with technology. Replicate success across different domains. That's how wealthy people stay wealthy, by continually reinventing their independence. And here's the part they never tell you: money is only the first level of freedom. After financial freedom comes emotional freedom, the ability to live unbothered by comparison, envy, or validation. Then comes creative freedom to spend your time building things that matter, not things that pay. And finally, spiritual freedom, the peace that comes from knowing that your wealth no longer owns you. You've stopped chasing and started creating. That's the final exit from the rat race. Let's zoom out for a moment. You've escaped the cage. You've built systems, automated your income, diversified your wealth. But remember, this freedom is fragile when it isn't protected by purpose. The moment you stop growing, you start decaying. So set new missions. Use your wealth as fuel, not decoration. Invest in people. Mentor others. Build communities that create more creators. Because true freedom multiplies itself. It doesn't stop at you, it spreads through you. The rat race isn't just a place, it's a mindset. It whispers that more is always better, that stillness is weakness, that your worth depends on your work. But now, you know better. Freedom isn't about running faster, it's about running fewer races. It's about owning your time, your energy, your peace. So protect your systems, review your blueprint, automate your wealth, and never forget, you didn't escape the rat race to rest. You escaped it to rise. Because the highest form of success isn't luxury, it's liberty. Freedom isn't a finish line. It's a cycle. It begins in your mind, takes root in your habits, and echoes in the lives you touch. When you first heard the phrase, escape the rat race, you probably thought it was about money, about quitting your job, buying property, living easy. But now you know the truth. Freedom isn't about what you escape from. It's about what you rise into. You rise into mastery. You rise into purpose. You rise into a life designed by intention, not impulse. Because the moment you stop reacting and start creating, you've already left the race. The world will still run in circles, chasing trends, chasing validation, chasing shadows. But you've built something they can't see. A quiet power. A system that works while you rest. A peace that money can't buy, but only discipline can earn. Let's look at the story of Anderson, a man who once thought freedom meant a big paycheck. He worked 14-hour days, earned millions, bought a house, and still couldn't sleep. Bills grew with his income. Stress grew with his status. Until one day, he broke. He didn't quit. He rebuilt. He sold what didn't serve him, simplified his life, automated his earnings, and started mentoring others in his community. He stopped chasing growth and started nurturing impact. And that's when he became free. Anderson didn't just escape the rat race, he redesigned the maze. You see, real wealth was never the mansion or the car. It was the ability to wake up on your terms, to breathe without anxiety, to give without asking what's in it for you, to create without permission. That's what we're all really chasing. The moment we can look at life and say, I own my time now. Because time is the first currency you spend and the last one you can never get back. You were born free. Then life built cages around you: school, debt, society, comparison. They told you freedom was something you'd earn someday. But the truth is, freedom is something you build every day. Every time you choose purpose over panic, every time you invest instead of consume, every time you say no to distraction and yes to discipline, you buy back another piece of your soul. And that's the real transaction of life, trading temporary comfort for permanent control. So, as you walk into this new chapter, ask yourself, what kind of freedom do you want to leave behind? Will it die with you, or will it ripple through your family, your community, your world? Build systems that outlive your emotions. Teach what you've learned, because wealth that stops with you isn't wealth, it's waste. Freedom that ends with one generation was never freedom. It was privilege. You are the architect of your own exit. You're not here to play small, not here to be average, not here to exist inside someone else's plan. You're here to create your own economy, your own rhythm, your own legacy. And every small action you take, every investment, every book, every hour of discipline is laying another brick on the road to your freedom. So keep building, keep growing, keep choosing yourself. Because the day you finally live without asking for permission, that's the day you've truly escaped. Don't just escape the rat race, erase it from your life. Build machines, not cages. Create systems, not cycles. Seek mastery, not money. And one day, when you sit by the beach or on your balcony, watching the sunrise hit your face, you'll smile not because you made it, but because you made it yours. If this audiobook stirred something deep inside, you don't let it fade. Your journey to ultimate freedom has just begun. The next audiobook showing on your screen will guide you even higher into the mindset, structure, and power needed to turn discipline into destiny. Click it now and keep rising beyond limits. because your freedom story deserves a sequel. And if this is your first time here, do well to subscribe to MindForge Audio so you don't miss any of my future posts. Let me know in the comments which part of this audiobook hit the hardest.